Hello world, Patricia O'Connor with the Bonsai Balcony, and we are still in the vending area of the Pacific Bonsai Expo. I'm doing a little walkthrough trying to stay out of everybody's way. I focused in on a beautiful oak, and now I'm looking here at what I think is a cork bark black pine. Beautiful little cork bark black pine.
He makes up his mind.
Hawthorn. It's a hawthorn up there.
Well, and that's why.
And then they have some really cool little accent plants.
Well, you'll probably get some.
These show hens
That's the other thing.
are really pretty.
Like I said, I sold
Lots of
3
great
already,
materials
so,
to choose from. Look at this guy.
I don't want you to starve.
It's really pretty. And the needle height on that is just so tight. Somebody has done a lot of really good work on that to get this guy to this stage. This has had a lot of good work on it. Little show hens, little mames, little group plantings. I guess that's a forest, as is this maple forest next to show hen pines and maples and cork bark oaks and more maples and more pines.
For me to travel. Yeah. And I think I've just been like,
Oh no, you're fine.
it's totally cool because they literally are like loading the money because it's like money.
So many beautiful bonsai. So many beautiful bonsai vendors. This is our community. This is our group. These are the guys that long ago saw bonsai and said, "I'm digging in. This is my stop." And it's like they do this every day. This is, it's like at some point every teenage kid who went to a bar went, "Well, I want to own a bar." And this is kind of like that. I want to be bonsai, and this is where those who get to be bonsai live and work and do their thing, and it's really a high level game here. Okay.
Jenny, is this a black pine?
Let's enter in. I think I'm looking at a coastal redwood. I think I'm looking at a beautiful coastal redwood.
Okay. You have a number?
The plaque's on the other side. I'm standing on the wrong side of the show to see the plaque. How are you guys doing? We will look at those leaves. I'm not going to shoot my mouth off about what all this stuff is because I couldn't. I mean, I'm going to look at a pine and go, "That's a pine," or look at a maple and go, "That's a maple." That's what you get with me. You can fill in if you want to. If you want to go, "Patricia, that leaf is indicative of a," then that would be awesome. Japanese black pine, beautiful Japanese black pine, and then that is just so stunning. And then it's a deadwood on this guy. Oh, it's fantastic. I'm just going to go through. I'm not going to do a lot of commentary. You can see how this guy has such cool deadwood features. Those are so intricate and so fragile, and she shows so well of them to take care of this tree in this high of a degree. And you can just see all those twists and spirals in the trunk and the ramification on this tree is just stunning. The soul blooms here to show us what she looks like when it's in bloom. Now, the deadwood features on this guy. Isn't that something? All right, let's see if we can back out of here with that. That is a show hen size little tree. There's this little accent plant. More deadwood features in these guys. And it's just, you can see that just spirals and goes right on up. And then a fantastic little base on that trident maple or accent plant. Olive? Is that you, Olive? I think that it is. You'll probably see this tree several times in several videos. It is a standout, and I'm sure it'll probably show up more than once. It's really pretty. It's also pretty big. At the table is a little less than waist high, and the tree is my head high, and I'm currently about 6'2" with heels.
I think somebody put something. I don't know.
Oh, these are also
They call tanuki also.
and we just trip over bonsai masters and look at trees. This is such a great display. I love their artwork and the stone. When I saw this on the video earlier, I thought that was water. That's a flat plate. That's beautiful. Might be. I think that's wood. And this tree has a fantastic work on it. It's just so tight, and that deadwood shari on the front looks really, the whole thing is just very, the base. All right. Now, when we turn, and are you good? You got everything you need? Okay. Oh,
Sorry.
no, you are absolutely fine. I'm gonna try to focus in on this maybe. Boom. In this camera, that looks like a face. It is not. That's just naturally what this tree does. This is fantastic, y'all. It is just so top tight. And that is a fairly large, tree. I'm back. I'm up in the outfield trying to get that guy in. There we go. Beautiful. All right. Hop over, and we're about to capture a little stardom here. Beautiful little show hens. This tree looks familiar to me, as does the person doing the presentation.
50% to your score.
This is the curator of this exhibit, Jonas
And
DePlaw.
it's not
He
hard
does
to balance all
bonsai
that. But they
tonight.
literally get, I think, 15
If you
points
don't know
for each or
Jonas,
something.
you're missing
And
out.
depending on which tree they want to win, they get 15 points. And kind of go on down from there. But the companion plant in this case is actually another base. Everyone else will start doing security skills. So there are different options. But here is a more traditional one where you have a whole bunch of stuff going on.
Like this display. This little iron rack. Sorry, Pat. This little iron rack here.
And this companion plant, is it doing its job of
For this
suggesting time of year?
cascade, which is
Yes, we've got
phenomenal.
red leaves. The leaves of all plants
Phenomenal.
preserve them because where all the leaves clear, it will tell the story of winter. The winter would probably be
I just kind of jumped in here. Oh, I'm still on magnification. This is hurting me a little. There we go. The color, the size. Those needles are so tight. If I get my finger out of there, we'll go back to it. More than people don't recognize my face, but more than one person has seen my finger and went, "Oh, you're Patricia O'Connor." Yeah, I guess I'll leave my finger in the shot that much. This is what happens when you grow a bonsai tree with all those exposed roots. You get something absolutely fantastic like this. Yeah. And this is the first tree I think I've seen with a figure, a little figurine. It's got a little mud man, which is looks to me to be an elk, maybe a reindeer. Beautiful. I think white pine.
Yeah, white pine.
And I was saying white pine because the foliage is light green, which some Japanese black pines here look a little light green to me too because of wherever they came from. Maybe they're, looking a little yellow. But this is kind of closer to an indicative color. Also, those exposed roots. Aren't those fantastic? This is a great example of how the roots on a pine tree will bark over just as much as the trunk, and will shari just as well as the trunk. This is very much a beautiful look where you can see through and see the light in the space. Another way to have gone would have been to fan all that out more, leave it solid with substrate over the years, and those roots would fatten up and squeeze the substrate out of the way, and you would end up with the base of a tree that's however wide that you fan those roots out originally. This is a fantastic way to go. You can see that light all the way through there. You can see how it's all just standing up delicately and hanging on, and then you've got this semi-cascade going here. Beautiful, beautiful tree. It's a little bigger than a show hen. All right, I'm gonna hop over. This is where we started. This is where we hop right on over. Junipers, I do believe, and very nice looking juniper. And then the accent plants. The cherry tree with all of her cherries. I have seen in past in shows where people would throw the trees in a refrigerator to preserve the fruit for the show. I've often also heard of people picking the fruit and preserving that in a freezer or a refrigerator until showtime and then rehanging it. I guess all's fair in show business.
So there's always kind of like this
Leaves
interesting area.
and the exposed
L shape. It's
shards.
supposed to frame that, so elevate that. So you kind of want to expose.
Oh, that's just fabulous.
Design your tree.
That's a fabulous
Show
looking
them.
tree. Root over rock. No, not a root over rock. Guess again, Pat. This is a slab. It goes this way. and we have a forest on it, and then we have more of the forest down here, coming around here, and under the shade of the wall. Back up a little and see if I can.
So this is the one?
Fabulous, fabulous. And then I'm going to move over to this olive. It has quite impressive base on that guy. A lot of hollow features. Looking very, very happy here in the show. Nice job on the canopy. Just squeeze through here right quick. Now here's another example of a fruiting bonsai. This is awesome. They have some sitting down at the base of the tree, which is fine and natural. You can also see how it appears in its natural state. I heard somebody describe this as grotesque. That is not a put down. That is actually an artistic term describing a stage of beauty unto itself, and that's where we are here with the seeds just about to pop out of the tree, and you can see the fruit heavily hanging, and it would be such a labor of love to try to bring a tree like this across country and not lose all of your not to lose the spoils of your work. Oh, that's impressive. That's so impressive. Here we're looking at a grove of maples, and aren't they pretty? I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed by that pot color. I'm kidding, of course. I chose a pot of a near identical color from my little Kodaheim maple forest. Whoa. What a show. Okay. This is the succulent. I'm just kidding. This is a quite impressive Ponderosa pine. Got a little cactus, little barrel cactus hanging out at the base, almost as an accent plant. And that fern. I kind of wonder about that. This doesn't like as much water as that does, so I kind of wonder how that would work. Look at there. We got pine cones, little Ponderosa pine cones, and the deadwood features on this tree are very impressive, as are the sharis and the twists. Quite impressive. And the foliage. Now, we said this is the Ponderosa foliage. It's a long needle pine. It's a long needle, high elevation. Pine. So to get the needles this small shows fantastic of someone. They did a really nice job of getting these needles this short. It takes some time to do this, more than 1 year, to get a Ponderosa to shorten its needle length to what we see here. Excellent job on this Ponderosa pine. Yeah. Gonna move in. Wow. It's a cork bark oak. Is this possible? What is this? This is not an oak. It's a cork bark something. I want to say it's an oak because of the way the bark looks. But those leaves are so tiny. Could it be? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Well, I just gotta tell you right now, it'll be a cold day and, well, we'll see. But wow. All right, so big tree, tiny leaves. Just gonna Juniper's here. Oh, just moving right over down. Larch. Is that what I'm looking at here? A literati. It's next to a hawthorn and a Juniper. Base. That little root over rock is certainly pretty. Windswept tree is really pretty. It's a very interesting shape. And I especially like the way the living and dead wood twist together. You see that a lot, but it's especially pretty on this tree. That's a little less conventional, but very, very nice the way this side kind of just swoops down. Okay, we got that.
What is it? Yeah.
People admiring this hawthorn, as they should. It's a beautiful tree. The pot and the tree are very, very nice mix. This guy here kind of matches the shape of our Ponderosa. That spiral. Oh, that's so impressive. Okay, this is a court bark oak. And these are what I would consider to be really small leaves. The court bark oak I have, when I got it years ago, the leaves were this small. I think that's something you can do once you have a tree in a finished state. Then you kind of start worrying about your leaf size. So then your feeding or watering habits will bring down that leaf size smaller and smaller. In other words, these are my excuses right up front. We have reasons why this isn't something as far as leaf size for us to shoot for right now. We still have a lot of structure to build, and to get that structure, we're going to be feeding and watering and doing all kind of stuff that's probably the opposite of tiny leaves. Look at this. This just shows years and years and years and years of a tug of war with life and death. And the accent plants look really nice in there too. The blooming succulents. So the deadwood features on this tree. Nicely executed. And they bleached this out really well, but a lot of times when you see stuff this, you'll see where somebody maybe got a little sloppy with their paintbrush, where they would walk, not here. It looks, the edge from bleached or sulfured to not, it's perfect. It's just perfect throughout. I challenge anybody to say otherwise. Very impressive. This is oh my goodness. That's like, wow. A huge stump. And this is, you know, if somebody would have harvested this as a tree, they would have had to have cut it off, still fairly large, so that they would have this much wood and this much wood to peel and carve back to in order to come off that natural. And the fruit hanging from here are especially impressive. It kind of what I was saying about the grotesque nature or the macabre nature of the rotting fruit, but it is also so beautiful. And if you look, it's not hanging on there by a wire, but they have wired this branch or the stem to the fruit, has been wired to the tree, so that they will not lose it. Or if they did lose them, they would hang them back up there like Christmas ornaments until shows end. The things we do for the show. That is just so pretty. Everybody talks about, like sometimes our bonsai, we want it to be like specimen trees, the perfect example of a, whatever, a cedar, a pine or whatever. It's just but age is best expressed by lack of symmetry. Youth is symmetrical. Stem comes up, branch comes out over here, branch comes out over here, one here, one here, one here, very symmetrical. After time, we all get knocked around a little, and this is what's beautiful about that. A root over rock, a little forest of show hens. Very nice, and another oak. And the leaves on all these guys are telling me that we have so much work to do on our oak trees. So how do they get those leaves to all be so small? Now, this, I believe, very beautiful. I believe this is also a Ponderosa. Could be a white pine. Could be a white pine on its own stalk. Yeah. But look at the way that swirls around and the way that trunk, that base of the bark has been cut away. We've got those different colors and those different textures, and the rollover of that bark is just also impressive. Here at the base, those little guys there are lichens. Those take a long time. You don't get those overnight. Somebody has to make a decision to leave those alone and let them go for years for them to look like that. Whereas we would wash most moss off, lichens are a cool way to denote age or show how much time has elapsed in something. Very impressive base of this tree. And that foliage work is just top tight. How about that? That's what talent for ramification looks like. That and time. Yes. Again, the edge here, the difference between the light and the dark. This would have had to have been treated to be that clean and that pristine. And this fine line right there shows very, very, very steady work. I bet if I tried to do this, you would probably see brush marks in the brown part. You say, well, why don't you just tape it? Well, it's not a car or a picture frame or a board or something that's flat. When you try to tape something like this, you may have inconsistencies. Okay, we just kind of doped around the corner, and now we're looking at more deadwood feature on that. So impressive. All of these tiny little pieces shows us that the caretaker for this tree, to me this says this person has their act together. They live the kind of life where something like this could hang out for years and years and not be damaged or not be hit by a squirrel or a dropped pot or overcrowded bonsai balcony or that's so delicate. And there's another one up ahead a little ways that it's like, come on, look at this. So speaking of come on, sometimes I forget myself and I point down at these, but I think for the most part, unless I need to push in and try to look up, I try to shoot these guys kind of on the level. Now let's push in a little. Big old huge hollow feature here. That trunk goes up and it's just so much more impressive. From this view right here, you probably already feel like you're standing underneath a tall tree. Nicely done. Literati. Literati. Okay. I am gonna pause this one here and we're gonna start in here. But what a nice thing to stop on. What is a beautiful broom style on this tree. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you. Free appreciates you. This was a 31-minute walkthrough of the Pacific Bonsai Expo. Thank you so much for watching.